Statesman Nation. We are here with Sean Gosewisch as we preview the 2018 men's cross country season. We're going to talk about the women a little bit later as well, but we'll talk about the men first here. Coach, you guys are coming off a disappointing season. We'll just leave it at that.
There's no way around it.
Yeah, some things just didn't go the way you obviously planned, but just looking at the sheet you have in front of you, I know that you guys have worked extremely hard on the recruiting trail to improve things and bring in some hopefully better. You got quality and quantity coming in.
Definitely.
And so before we get to all of those individuals, let's talk about last year and then talk about what you were looking for and trying to rebuild the program and everything. So what you did in the off season.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, last year was definitely disappointing. So we kind of spent the summer recruiting and as well as sending out training programs for the returners to make sure that we come back ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Looking at some of the returners like Cam Shade, Terry Jackson, those guys are coming in great shape. Tough to tell if they're already in better shape than they were last year,
right.
but there's definitely a fire under them, especially looking at the size of the team that we've got coming in.
Yeah.
We've got a ton of very talented freshmen coming in. Some of the names that stick to my mind after a week and a half of practice and time trials: David Perry, he's going to be a stud for us. Joshua Williams, he's done very well with training up to this point, as well as Gabriel Webster, native Oski kid here, Kyle Shulaw, Jack Miller. They've both shown some definite promise in these first couple of weeks,
right.
and that's not to say the others haven't.
Right.
But those guys definitely work as a group, leading the charge up to this point.
Yeah. Go back and talk about the returners a little bit more. Overall, I guess with such a new team, maybe where they're going to step in more, maybe not the times per se, but hopefully, some kind of leadership role that even if we're not the best athletes, maybe we can still show, and just grow the team that way, through the interactions with the younger kids and showing them the way.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. A leader doesn't necessarily have to be the fastest athlete on the team. It's all about mindset and living the lifestyle of a runner.
Right.
Making the right decisions in the cafeteria with hydration, before and after practice, those kinds of things. And so far from what I've seen of the returners, a lot of those guys have taken the lead on that, and they're doing a great job.
Right, definitely. I guess to highlight a little bit better, a little more in depth. I'm sorry, I'm going to pull it out of you a little bit.
No.
The returners again. I mean, you talked about Terry, you talked about Cam, but I mean anybody else, and especially what are they doing maybe differently this year that hopefully will result net in better results.
Yeah, I mean they definitely learned a lot from last year. The way we're running on regular runs or the workouts that we do, it's different. They've learned certain tactics and strategies that didn't necessarily work for them last year.
Right.
It's definitely a growth thing. We were young last year, and we are young this year.
Yeah.
But the youth from last year has learned so much.
Yeah.
And we got guys like Julian Davis coming back. A.J. Williams is back. Matt Newton is going to be eligible this year. He's back, and I expect big things out of him as well. He's been putting in a lot of training. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, we'll switch the page and talk about the newcomers. Sorry. Newcomers a little bit. You had already mentioned, David Perry, some of the other guys, but what are they bringing different to the table this year, outside of, again, just being maybe per se more talented or having just a little better skill set, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no way around it that they are talented runners. But there's a different vibe with the group overall. Everybody's here. There's a lot more focus. There's a lot more fire underneath us, and I can tell that pretty early on.
Yeah.
That both men's and women's, there's an opportunity to be a pretty special group.
Yeah, and obviously again a bigger group that's going to at times maybe result in not everybody getting along and there being maybe a little animosity because now this guy's going to take over my spot, blah blah blah. But I think you had mentioned to me last week, said the guys, both teams are getting along really well. Everybody's just charged up because there is a bigger squad and there's potential for a higher level of success. So talk a little bit more about that and the chemistry that you guys have right now and hopefully what that's going to lead to.
Sure. I mean, you're absolutely right. There's always going to be some butting of heads. The way I explain it at the beginning of every season is you don't get along with your family all the time.
Yeah.
As long as we're adults about it and move on from it, then we become closer in the end. And it's definitely something that I've seen. The returners came back and their immediate thing was, "Oh, look at the size of this team, coach. We're gonna be good this year."
Yeah.
So they've done a really good job of leading us to this point, and they're energized, they're motivated.
Right.
It's really good to see.
Yeah,
right
definitely.
now.
We'll totally switch gears now and talk about the schedule. I think you guys have. I'm going to go with 5, and then the conference tournament.
Five regular season,
conference
conference is 6, nationals will be 7.
Yeah, and it's pretty much exactly what it has been as of recent years here. But obviously you feel like it's a really stout schedule. It's going to prepare you guys for conference, and which is obviously your national qualifier. But there's some really good teams in our conference. I mean, are they national champions? No, but they're really good teams that are going to push you and everything. So let's talk about the schedule and what meets maybe jump out the most to you.
Sure. So it's like you said, it's almost the same as last year. It's designed to be a combination of really big competitive meets, like this first one we go to in Augustana, Sioux Falls, Augustana. Huge meet, 30-something teams, a lot of D1s, a lot of D2s, a lot of stellar NAI and D3s. Super competitive, a lot of fun. But we don't want to continually just go to these giant meets, so we go to closer, kind of more in our range meets. We'll go to Grandview, we'll go to St. Ambrose, we'll go to Mount Mercy.
Right.
That way we're kind of seeing how we stack up against conference teams as well throughout the year, and not just, you can't race Nebraska every weekend, or
exactly.
You're going to get kind of down on yourself.
Right, yeah. But even that Mount Mercy meet, I mean, yes, while it is closer geographically, that's also the host site for this year's nationals, and because of that, it's a preview. Basically, it's a national preview. I know they're not calling it that, but you have to expect that at the very least, the top teams from the Midwest are going to be there. So you're going to get a heck of a test there as well.
And that meet's always actually been competitive from the get-go. They got a lot of NAIA teams, 20 to 30 teams at any given point. And they've always had studs like St. Francis, Illinois. They're always there. St. Mary's, Kansas goes. So I expect this year to be even more competitive because, like you said, it is the host.
Pull the teams from the West Coast a little bit too.
Exactly.
For sure. Again. Well, you kind of alluded to that, but how that's going to prepare you. Overall, the conference, you guys definitely feel like you're going to be, a little bit of a dark horse. Wow, I think this morning. We'll go with the black horse too. It could be black. Black's a dark color.
Horses are horses, man.
Horses are horses. Going to be a bit of maybe a surprise to teams. Where do you guys figure when it's all said and done, if things go right, to land?
Yeah, so I mean, speaking on the gentleman's side, if we make a big jump, I think we were 12 or 13 last year, and if we can jump to 6th or 7th, I'll be happy with that in this first year. Just because we are young, but we are that much more talented, and just making a huge leap there, I think, is definitely possible for us.
Yeah, definitely. The keys to success to actually making that happen.
Definitely staying healthy and definitely putting in the work. Especially, I'm kind of a free-range coach, and on some senses, I don't force the athletes to meet me on weekends every weekend. So it's kind of up to them to make sure they're holding themselves and each other accountable to get runs in.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't do that, obviously, if you don't run, you're not going to be a good runner.
Yeah.
So holding themselves accountable, getting your runs in when I'm not around, and just overall taking care of yourselves in and out of practice is going to be huge for us this year.
Well, the simple fact is the best athletes don't need to get pushed. They are willing to do it themselves. So that's what you're hoping that they will be. If they're great athletes, they're going to just be self-motivated.
That's the hope.
All right. Well, you guys again start next weekend.
Yep.
Next Friday night. Yep. Under the lights. I think you guys were in the mud last year. Or was that mud 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago. Last year was pretty dry. 2 years ago was a mud pit.
So hopefully dry, but mud's going to make it exciting too. So either way, if you're in the Sioux Falls area, Sioux Falls, South Dakota area, definitely check out Coach Gosewich's teams. They'll be up there, and a really cool event underneath the lights. I think they use glow sticks for
glow sticks to line the course. There's the DJ that bumps music the whole time. Really big fan base. It's super exciting.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. So if you're up there, definitely check out the cross country teams. We'll keep tabs on you. StatesmanAthletics.com, your home for all William Penn, including cross country news. So best of luck, Coach.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks.